So any payment that you do to the developers must go through escrow so that your payments are safe, your money is safe.
And how does that impact investor compensations?
Developer delays happens because of things like financial problems, supply of raw materials. It is purely based on the developer's performance.
When the project comes to life, the amenities promised have not been delivered in that project.
The most basic thing of the contract, which happens especially with off-plan projects, is the description of the project itself. So they didn't have, like I said, they didn't have too much liquidity. So refunding was a problem for them because they had to do it on a massive scale.
Oh, an investor has bought in a property and they've missed a clause or something, like which is one of the common mistakes they make when they're signing up for properties.
So it would be the escrow clause.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Beyond Litigate podcast where we discuss everything legal. Now thank you for such an amazing appreciation for the last podcast. We'll be seeing so much love on Instagram and YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel so you get better legal proper news of from the Dubai legal community. Now in today's show, we are actually going to be discussing about all things that affect real estate, property and the construction industry legally. And with us, we have an expert who is Advocate Alwyn Mathew from Nassar Advocates Legal Consultancy, who is going to be spilling all the beans on this. So, Alwyn, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great too. Thank you so much. Are you excited?
Yes.
I'm glad. Okay, so let's get started with the first question. Right. Alwyn, Dubai's construction industry has seen many ups and downs recently. So what are the most common legal pitfalls global investors who are looking at signing up construction or off-plan property contracts in Dubai should be mindful of?
So it's not more of a clause, but it is the payment schedule. So what people do is once the off-plan construction is delayed or there some problem happens, what they do is they stop payment. What we are not aware of is that these developers can ask for extension to the land department itself and not notify that to the client or the buyer.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is not mandatory, it is very optional. So once we stop payment, then in terms of the contract, we are the first party to breach the said contract. So then we will be in trouble and us getting a remedy would be harder.
Oh, okay.
So that is what is most is like
a common practice.
Yes.
This is what a lot of people do. They stop paying.
Yes.
When they don't see a development happening.
Exactly.
But then in that case, what should one do?
So then they still keep on paying the amounts.
Okay.
And then go for legal remedies side by side. So at that time, through due diligence, you keep a lawyer or yourself, go yourself, and you can find out if such a delay has been registered in the land department.
Interesting. So you still recommend, but then people will be losing out on money, right? Because they're investing in the property and the property doesn't seem to be, seeing the light of the sun. And then the other is they also have to hire a lawyer and then they have to still do it. But is that the only way out?
So the problem over here is the developers can actually get extensions 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah. So if we don't do this, then we would be at a disadvantage.
Correct.
So it is a little costly, but then it is what is best recommended.
Perfect. Understood. Now tell me, what clauses must never be missed from a property sales agreement if the investor wants, full legal protection from any delays or anything whatsoever?
So in my opinion, first of all, defects, so snags, small things like that, has to be inspected. But to take it a step further, a whole inspection clause, I don't see that in these contracts nowadays. But I hope it will come from now on. So a whole inspection on the structural integrity, the electric units, and all those things, which are internal, part of the internal structure of the house. It must be inspected. So an inspection clause can be added, and also what is very important is the escrow clause. So escrow is a must. So any payment that you do to the developers must go through escrow, so that your payments are safe, your money is safe.
Correct, correct. And of course, with escrow accounts, it's also really important to, I mean, alongside escrow accounts, it's also very important to deal with the right developer. I guess someone who has reputation.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is where the due diligence comes.
Yeah.
It is recommended to hire a lawyer or someone knowledgeable in that regard and conduct a due diligence. So what happens if it is not a reputed developer is mostly to do with financial liquidity.
Correct.
So if they do not have the funds to operate this whole construction project and they are waiting for the buyers to provide the fund, then you can expect a lot of delays and a lot of litigation involved in these things, and overall unsatisfactory performance of the contract.
What are some of the things that investors should be mindful of while checking out the best developers to invest with? I understand you said you should get a lawyer in between. Perhaps, at the time of, do you recommend getting a lawyer at the time of signing up a legal or investing a property and so on at that point? Or at what stage of your property purchase should you be involving the lawyer?
So a lawyer per se would be best for during litigation or any dispute arising. But as I said, during due diligence, someone with that adequate knowledge would suffice. And what we have to check in developers itself, it is limited in UAE what we can actually get information on. But the best thing to do is to check the past projects of these developers. So if you can see that there are delays and there are problems that are arising from the previous projects of these developers, then I would recommend not going forward with them. But if they are fine, then you should go ahead and invest your money.
Perfect, which makes absolute sense. Now, my next question is, when we're looking at escrow accounts, so what are escrow accounts and how do they legally protect your funds from being misused or, misaligned anywhere else?
So escrow accounts is a service that is provided by the Dubai Land Department, and what it does is consolidates funds and then disperses them. So when you put in funds over in the escrow account, normally a developer cannot access that until 20% of the construction project is complete. So the initial phase, if the construction does not complete the initial phase, your money is safe. So through court order, you can actually get back that money. At the same time, the disbursement of the funds that happen will be on a performance base. So once they complete a certain percentage of their performance of the contract or the construction, then that money will be released to them. If not, that money will not be released to them.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So at least, your funds are protected.
Yes.
As long as, you're invested in the right project and yeah. But what happens in cases, say for instance, if a developer defaults and we have also seen that, people run away and so on, and then, they don't continue their projects and so on. So they, the likelihood of them taking away the money and then, not returning or not even proceeding with the development. What happens in that case to the regular people who have invested?
So I'll answer this in two parts. So, firstly, if they delay too much, as in, like I said previously, after the 3 times that they've taken permission and they still delay the project, then there comes penalty clauses. So, penalty clauses, unlike other Commonwealth countries, the UAE accepts them unless and until they are too what do you say, extensive and unreasonable. So, so these penalty clauses would deter the developer from delaying it too much. And then about them running away with the money, that is where escrow comes in, so that they don't have access to the money until and unless they do their part. But if you don't have an escrow, then litigation would be the best option for you.
Correct. Interesting. And what is the difference between a developer delay and a force majeure claim in Dubai? And how does that impact investor compensations?
So developer delays is things happens because of things like financial problems or supply of raw materials, all these things. It is purely based on the developer's performance. But when it comes to force majeure, it's called as act of God also. Like in 2020, we saw the pandemic happen. So during that time, it is not in the control of the developer or the buyer or anybody. So the delay in that regard would not be the fault of a developer. So that's the major difference.
Okay, interesting. And how enforceable are penalty clauses in off-plan property contracts under Dubai law, and what makes them hold in a legal dispute?
So, like I said previously, penalty clauses are accepted in UAE, and until and unless it is too extensive or unreasonable. So, what we can see nowadays is a day rate being, so every day that the construction is being delayed, a penalty fixed amount is being charged on the developer. So, so yeah, like I said before, it deters the developers from taking advantage of the Dubai Land Authorities, what do we say, privileges or yeah.
So, Alvin, now there must be incidents, I'm quite certain, when in the sales centers, the properties are showcased so beautifully. You'll be having a lagoon, you'll be having canals, and you're having schools, and this is a whole development, you've been preparing a community. And then, when the project comes to life, the amenities promised have not been delivered in that project. Or there are false claims that were made before, and now obviously things are otherwise. What does an investor do in that case? How does he legally protect himself?
So, the most basic thing of the contract, which happens with, especially with off-plan projects, is the description of the project itself. So, if in the amenities and utilities it is described, then what if they do not provide it, it is a breach of contract itself. So instead of going for a legal battle then and there itself, I would recommend amicably settling it. Obviously, other buyers would be there too, expecting the same from a project. But so first would be amicable settlement, hold negotiation talks. And then if that does not work out, then a legal battle would be easily won by the buyer.
Perfect. That is very interesting. And what are performance guarantees and compensation bonds, and how should international investors insist on these in high-value property deals?
So, performance guarantees are given by insurances, and bonds are normally given by the banks. So, the major difference is that when you take both these services or either of these services, so performance guarantees, you would have to first prove that there was a delay that occurred, and then you get paid. At the same time, for bonds, which is given by banks, first they will give you the money which you were insured for, and then they look into what caused the delay or the proof of the delay. So I would recommend that high private property, sorry,
High value properties.
high valued properties,
Yeah.
or even government properties, investments, or projects. You should take either of these.
Right. Now, tell me, when we're looking at, for instance, if a developer obviously does not complete the project on time, and so, what is the first step in terms of developer communication that a person should take? In order to get their funds quickly, have you ever seen a case where a developer has delayed a project and he has given back the money to clients?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, but then in the cases that I've seen, it took a long time.
Yeah.
It took a long time. So because in that case, the developer was not too good. So they didn't have, like I said, they didn't have too much liquidity. So refunding was a problem for them because they had to do it on a massive scale.
Oh. How do you check if a developer has enough liquidity or not?
Like I said, previous projects. So that is the only yardstick that we have in available.
So
We
you
cannot-
advise not to deal with new developers, like very, very fresh.
very
new
fresh.
ones.
I would not recommend.
Right.
I would not recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Understandable. So I think just success of their previous projects, occupancy rates, etc., all of that, and perhaps feedback from them would be a
Yes.
good idea
Yeah, of
to check that they have liquidity. My second question was that if a developer fails to complete the project, how should an investor structure their legal response to recover the funds quickly?
So it should be first, like I said, amicable settlement. So either mediation or negotiation must be employed. So so when a mediation happens, there is a chance that you might not get a full amount, but a part of the amount. But then that is the best way or the fastest way you can get it. But at the same time, you feel that you have been wronged or defrauded or cheated, and you need the whole amount and maybe more because of the wasted time and wasted efforts. So then the best thing to do is to notify the developer that you are going for a case, and then proceed with the case.
Perfect. Sounds very good. Now, my next question is, have you ever had a client come to you after signing the contract only to realize that they had almost no legal protection?
So up until a few years ago, the contracts that I've seen were very one-sided towards the developers, especially when it comes to big developers.
Correct.
So I was always confused on why people would sign this. So then a legal remedy for them would take a lot of hours of work and all these things. But nowadays, I can see it being both, balanced. And I think it's because of consumer awareness, so which is a great thing right now. So for what you asked, yeah, for right now, I don't see that too much, where people just sign off without reading what all legal remedies they have.
No, but give me some examples of some places or sometimes when an investor has bought in a property and they've missed a clause or something, like which is one of the common mistakes they make when they're signing up for properties.
So it would be the escrow clause. So yes, there is a lot of big developers. It is already there in the standard format. But when it comes to new developers or small ones, they can easily skip the escrow account. We can see the payment schedule, and you think, oh, okay, it is. We just have to pay it when this percentage of construction is complete. But what we so I've seen it a couple of times. It's not like very wide, but a couple of times I've seen this escrow clause not being there, and then it affecting them badly. So another thing I want to mention is that when they ask for funds from the escrow account, they have to submit an application to the land department showing that they've completed this percentage, and then only this funds will be released to them. So that is why escrow clause is very important, and it should be never missed.
Tell us about a time where timing made all the difference. When when acting fast legally helped your client save a lot of money.
So this case came into our firm a while ago, and so the client was very active, proactive. So they did their due diligence at before starting to engage with the developers, and like I said, before the completion of the 20% of the construction, he saw a lot of delays. So what he did was he approached us immediately, and then we filed a case so that he can retrieve his the escrow funds back. And I think that is the best example of being. So he was proactive. So that is why he was able to act in such a way, and not suffer too much of loss.
Interesting. Well, that concludes my podcast. I am so happy that we discussed so many things about legal matters, property investment, and so on. So for everyone who's watching us, please get in touch with Al Nassar Advocates and Legal Consultants for any of your legal requirements. I would highly recommend you to vet your contracts with a proper lawyer before you sign them, so you don't make a mistake. They are available for online consultations and offline consultations. So please get in touch. And yes, Being Litigate is the channel you need to follow on Instagram and on YouTube to catch more of such legal content coming your way. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Alvin.
having me too.
Anytime. Thank you.